Chicago, and the voice of the nation is 1690 AM WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
The views expressed on our programs are not necessarily those of WVON, Midway Broadcasting Corporation, or our participating sponsors.
It's the Borges Report with attorney Ernesto Borges on Chicago's essential storyteller, WVON.
There's a new sheriff in town, and this lawman is on your side. When you need legal help, you need somebody who knows how to fight for you. Estate planning, wills and trusts, bankruptcy, personal injury, and real estate. Put the lawman on your case. Attorney Ernesto Borges. Lawman Legal Group. Call 844-939-1800.
Hey, good morning, Chicago, and good morning to the world. I'm attorney Ernesto Borges of the law firms of Borges and Wu, Bill Busters, and you just heard the commercial for my new law firm, Lawman Legal Group. So if you need any legal help, you call us. We handle everything. Anyway, today is August 23rd, 2026, and we will be here right here on WVON, the Talk of Chicago, the voice of the nation, until 10 o'clock today. So call us at 773-591-1690, 773-591-1690 if you care to, or you can check us out on Facebook. I think you just type in WVON, and I'm not quite sure how it works, but I think you Facebook people know how to do that. So, yeah, I got a lot of things to talk about. I did listen to Operation Push yesterday, and Yusuf. I mean, he is just fantastic. You know, I don't think I've ever met Yusuf. Or maybe once he had a show on 53rd Street after he got his, I don't know, that beer concession or franchise or something. But he is fantastic. He is really, he's a historian also like Jesse Jr., and talked about the slave trade and how slaves came to the South America and Central America long before they came to this, to the North American continent, and how we have to enfranchise ourselves. And, just can't depend upon other people to do it for you. We have to do it ourselves. I always listen to that on Saturday mornings. Also heard some friends of mine on the station last week. George Daniels, I guess George got a big, George's record shop, and he got an award, I guess, from Linwood. And George and I go back to college together back in 1965. We were in college together. So George and I have been friends a long, long, long time. And then I heard LaDonna Tittle on the show the other day, and I guess she was on LaDonna's show, and I saw LaDonna later in the day. But LaDonna and I go back to college, back to 1965. She went to Dunbar, I went to Phillips, but we were friends. We went to night school, day school, and of course LaDonna did for me. I produced a play at the DuSable Museum for colored girls who considered suicide when the rainbow was enough. And LaDonna was one of the colored girls, along with Bonnie DeShong and Troy Tyler. Yeah, we had a great show at the DuSable. And so I heard her on the radio, an old friend of mine. And, and I told you about the show I'm getting ready to do at DuSable October 23rd and 24th, kind of like a Cotton Club, Apollo Theater combination. I'm trying to get this artist, this gospel artist. Her name is Anita Wilson. I was unfamiliar with her, but they say she's fantastic. So we're going to have like a gospel show, a talent show. And we got a Cab Calloway impersonator, Minnie the Mooch. He's gonna do so. Yeah. So put that on your calendar, October 23rd, 24th. And went to a couple of parties yesterday. A guy named Rel went to Wendell Phillips, super athlete, great guy who could play football, baseball, basketball, everything. I had a little picnic yesterday over there on Lake Park Avenue, and then went to Gary Harris. Many of you know Gary Harris, who's on the air here. He had a party, and you walk in, they give you a glass, and I teasingly said, well, I only drink Dom Perignon. And the waitress said, well, that's what we've got, Mr. Borges. He must have had 100 bottles of Dom Perignon, and they cost like $300, $350 a bottle. And he never ran out, I tell you. Great food, met some people, just one. He's a very special person. So if you have any extra money, invest with him. I think you won't be unhappy. Great. I saw Perry Small was there, and I took her to a car. Not a car, her Uber at the end, and she was quite entertaining, and I had a good time. And Perry sat in for Ken Duncan the other day, and she really enjoyed being back here at VON. So she said, well, Ken doesn't want to do it. I'll handle it. So yeah, she really enjoyed that. So just thought I'd share some things with you that, social things before we get into politics and all that business. And big party today for Eric out at the DuSable. There's like that little depressed area by the DuSable Museum up there, like 56th and Stony. Get a chance, come on by. I know Man Song will probably be there, and some of the other people. But we're going to have a good time over there. So come on over there this afternoon. Should be a really good time. I saw Hunter Biden on Bill Maher's show. Bill Maher Real Time. And Hunter was very impressive. I have to say that. I kind of had negative things about him when they said Hunter Biden, but guy is really impressive. And they talked about things. He's been, 8 years sober. He said, yeah, I was a crackhead. I was this, I was that. So it just goes to show you what you can do. You can make up your mind. I'm not going to be an alcoholic anymore. I'm not going to be a crackhead anymore. I'm not going to do this, that. All some of the bad things that we do that, things that seep into our lives, you can straighten up. And Hunter was, he was, he's, I don't know if he's got any ambitions to do anything, but he's very impressive. Things going on that, I know people are upset about Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and it looks like she's won the primary down there in Florida. And, it's a shame. It's like a congressperson can run, the Constitution says you can run. You don't have to live in the district in which you run, actually, and at least not in Illinois. And I think it's federal. So a person who is a congressperson you can be from Cairo, Illinois, at the tip of Illinois, and run here in Chicago for Congress. Normally, somebody's going to consider you a carpetbagger or something like that if you try to do that. But it's unfortunate that, it's kind of a black district, or I'll say majority black, at least 40% black in that district, but we can't seem to get it together. They couldn't agree on who was going to represent the black population constituents, and what happened? She won the primary, and I guess we got to get behind her, but it's just a shame that happened. So, but we can't say, well, I'm angry now, I'm going to vote for the Republican, or I'm going to stay home. She was in my estimation, she was a piss poor chairman of the Democratic National Committee at one point. She was, but people, we got to get it together. If we want to really win a district like that, and we have a majority or plurality black population, then, let's not be crabs in the barrel. Let's work it out. But, that's what happened on that front. And it's unfortunate. I don't know what's going to happen throughout the nation. They said it was a poor voter turnout. So what's wrong with us? I mean, as Youssef was talking about, let's enfranchise ourselves. Let's not be stupid here. Let's not this. We got Andre called the other day. I was listening to him talking to Saleem, I guess, and he was saying, there's a time for everything, even biblical terms. There's a time to reap, time to sow, time to kill, time to whatever, and a time for reparations. And maybe this is not the time. And he was making a lot of sense. Sometimes we can't just say, I'm going to stay home unless they say they're going to give us reparations. Or I'm going to stay home because I don't know who to vote for. People, let's be smart about these things. Now, I wonder, I just saw this just came up, New York Times, said that Jared Kushner, who is not an employee of the United States government, he's Trump's emissary to the Middle East or what have you, because he's working out deals for the president personally, no doubt. So he meets with Hakeem Jeffries. I just saw that just came up. So what was that all about? I mean, a couple of weeks ago, they met in secret, in private, don't want to talk about it. So what? I mean, is Trump like getting concerned that we might take the House of Representatives and start some investigations into his conduct? If we do take control, the first thing we have to do, of course, is to address this affordability problem that we're having in the country. That's got to be the first thing to address. And then, there's time, but we need to go after this president and Todd Blanche and all these other people that have committed some misconduct, some dastardly deeds. What's going on with that, Hakeem? Just curious, just asking. Things, I mean, I hate the things in secret like this, like Trump and Putin met for 2 hours. Nobody, we don't know what happened. No transcripts, nothing. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Trump with his tariffs, he's continuing with his tariffs. Now, Canada, we get like 70%. Canada sells 70% of their product to us. 70% of things we get from Canada of their exports. Now he wants to get into a war with Canada, and Canada's prime minister. He's no joke. He's no joke, and he doesn't seem to be afraid of Trump at all. And what's happening? These countries are beginning to realize we don't need America anymore. We don't need to buy our armaments from America. We don't need to get this or soybean or corn or beef or whatever. And they will look elsewhere. And once you lose a client, a customer, it's hard getting that customer back. They may look elsewhere. And he's just headed on a track to hurt our economy, if not destroy it. But he'll have his money. And he's punishing people. Look what he's doing to Eric Swalwell. Yeah, he's got some charges against him for, I guess, some sexual harassment. A former congressman out there in California who was running for governor, who was the front runner. And now the FBI's come in, grabbed all of his, his computer, his phone, this, that. And I forgot I had a client, and we were in bankruptcy court, and he was involved in this bank in Bridgeport where even Daley's nephew went to jail for a minute. But yeah, they come in and they take your phone, they take your computer, they take all your electronic. Oh my God, it's brutal. So maybe he had it coming, but maybe not like this. There's some revenge factor there that Trump is weaponizing the Justice Department. And look at what he's doing to Doris Miller, we always call him Dory Miller. I guess the real name is Doris Miller. When Pearl Harbor was attacked December 7th, 1941. I mean, all these flights of Japanese planes came in. They even had some little small miniature submarines. And Dory Miller was just a mess cook. In back in those days, in the Navy, especially in the Navy, they didn't train all the black sailors in using weaponry. You're a cook. You just went to cook school, and that's all you got to know. Nowadays, you go to basic training. Everybody gets to learn how to use a weapon. Then you specialize. So during that, they get attacked. I mean, torpedoes, everything. The ship is blowing up. Ship eventually sank. And he wins the Navy Cross. I mean, he went to save the captain, who I think eventually died. They give the pharmacist who was kind of aiding, gave him the Congressional Medal of Honor, and didn't give Dory got the third highest medal, the Navy Cross. They elevated that to be the second highest, but at that time it was the third highest medal. And Admiral Nimitz, who ran the Navy, I mean, he pinned it on him. And now Trump wants to rescind that. The Navy decided to name an aircraft carrier after this black man who shot down some of the Japanese planes. He tended to the captain and other men carried, because he's big, he's a big brother. And he took care of so many people to the point that a number of the officers said, this guy was so outstanding, we have to celebrate and honor him for his acts of gallantry and bravery and valor and so forth. And they were going to name an aircraft carrier after him. A Gerald Ford type aircraft carrier, one of the most, the most modern. Well, Trump doesn't want that. They want to rescind that and put his name on the aircraft carrier. So don't you see what he's doing here? How he's just trying to erase our history? Here was a man, he was the first black person to receive that. Between 1941 and 1945, no soldiers, no Marines, no sailors received the Congressional Medal of Honor in those 4 years during the war. Zero. I think one guy won it posthumously. Nothing. They don't want to honor us for our service to this country. I was in Vietnam, 68, 69. And in 1969, my captain put me in for 2 Brown Stars. Brown Star for valor. You have 2 levels of Brown Star. One for valor and one for what's called meritorious service. And it was a ceremony. A general came out, pinned it on me, saluted me. I saluted him, blah, blah, blah. And that was only one of the things that I had done in Vietnam. I mean, got soldiers. I went down in a gully, got a guy and dragged him up to safety. I crossed rice paddies to rescue a brother who'd been shot in the foot. I did a lot of things, but they would just ignore it. And then finally they said, well, I guess we got to give Borges something. It should have been a Silver Star at least. But they ignore what we do and what we've done in military, in combat. And I've seen it up close and personal. Got a captain. I went down into a gully, dragged a guy and another soldier, and we dragged him up this incline. It was the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life. Under fire, got him to the top. And I was so exhausted. I sat on there was a helmet up there, and I sat down on the helmet and looked over. A guy named Jesus had been shot through the head. I looked over at him, and the captain came up, boy, just get up off your ass. And I said, Captain. They ran over and said, Lieutenant Borges is the one who went down there and got this guy, some white boy from Nebraska. I didn't know him from Adam. And he later came to me that night and said, I'm sorry I yelled at you. I heard you the one who went down and got. I said, yeah, but he didn't put me in for a medal. Saved the guy's life. He'd been shot 3 or 4 times, sniper. He survived. But they ignore our contributions to this country in military and inventions and whatever, social, cultural things. They want to ignore us. And if they erase things, they erase people. As I said to you, Hitler burned the books. He burned the liberal books, the books written by Jews. He burned them. They had bonfires all over the universities and so forth. They're trying to burn and destroy or destroy any history that we have. And Hitler burned the books. And then guess what else he burned? He burned the people. He burned the bodies. He put them in ovens. Some people think, well, Ernesto, that's what you talk about. You're always Trump bashing. Somebody sent me a letter this past week. And he sent me a bunch of, he sent me a little thing that said, sticker that said Trump 2028. And a little note, little card. And he sent me a bunch of lottery tickets. And I took them, just to see. I said, "Is this guy trying to, buy some lottery tickets?" And most of them were losers, but there was one for $50 that maybe he didn't check properly. So I want to thank you, Mr. Anonymous, for the $50. I really appreciate that. I bought a nice lunch for myself and my partner with that $50. So check those bad lottery tickets. You think those losers, as you are, that you thought you sent me in the mail. But, there are people that just don't understand until maybe it's too late. But, yeah, it's unfortunate. I formed this new law firm called Lawman Legal Group. And so, because I was one of the top bankruptcy attorneys in the country. When the law changed in October of 2005, I filed more cases than any law firm in the United States, the entire United States, during that month, the month of October 2005. And I filed just over 100,000 bankruptcies for people and helped them to save their homes and get them out of debt and stop garnishments and everything else. So, there's no reason for anybody, especially any of our people in our community, to go elsewhere other than to come to my law firm. And I advertise under the name of Bill Busters, and of course my name. But I now have a firm called a Lawman Legal Group, and you heard the commercial at the beginning. And so we're handling other areas of law, and I got some really competent people handling non-bankruptcy. So we have the bankruptcy portion, and we have other areas of law that we practice in. So we're we got some personal injury cases. We've got workers' comp. We've got a lot of stay out of probate court. I got some cases in probate with guardianships and executorships and decedents' estates and all of that. But also trust. If you need a living trust, you need a irrevocable trust, land trust. We do all of those things also. So give us a call. I got a new phone number, which is 844-939-1800. Lawman Legal Group. Again, it's 844-939-1800. And it's either me or Ashley Mays, who is my partner, made her a partner. And we're on it. So give us a call. And I want to be known as the Lawman. Anyway, let's get to our Eunice, because we have not talked to her. And I think we missed her last week or something. Good morning, Eunice.
Good morning, Mr. Borges. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Well, I'm suffering with allergy, but I'm making it anyway.
Yeah, how's that?
You are exactly right. Yusef is a very impressive young man, and also the other brothers. And I'm looking forward to see you at Push at least once a month, okay?
Okay. I'm going to come and I'm going to surprise you.
Okay.
And show up.
And I would like to say this with all the churches in Chicago. There is no way Push should not be filled on Saturday. It's only a few hours of your day. We need to support our own organization. Yeah. And I'd like to say this. I told you that I have gotten all that mail from the Trump folks for a long time.
Really?
Now I'm getting Dunkin' Donut gift cards at $15, and they work. So I've given them to my kids.
They work, huh? Oh, good.
Yeah, they
good.
work.
Good. It's too bad we don't own the Dunkin' Donuts.
But I give them away. So I say someone has nothing to do but sit around and do things like that.
Yeah.
They sent me Mother's Day cards, nice one, but I don't need their mail. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks, Eunice. Maybe they give you a good lottery winner. I went to get a lottery ticket the other day, and I said, "Anybody hit that $1 million?" He said, "Yeah, somebody hit that, man." And he said, "I think there was only one winner." Oh my God, it's a lot of money. But thanks again for that lottery ticket you sent me there, Trumpster. And I've got to try to make it over there to Push. I mean, the whole family, just Jackson family, just extraordinary people. And I had just wasn't that familiar with Yusuf until he took over. But he's an amazing guy, and certainly Jesse, Jonathan, and the daughters and Jackie and everybody, the whole family. Brenda, you're on the Borges Report. Brenda,
good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'd like to say thank God for Jesse Lewis Jackson because he would be over there helping the people in Gary, Indiana.
Yeah.
He would have the food trucks over there. He would have stuff packed up for these people. Thank God for Jesse Lewis Jackson.
Yes.
Where's your governor at? Where's your people are here in Illinois suffering? Where is the relief for these people?
Yeah, I don't know if they've got a budget in FEMA. I don't think FEMA's
care what
kicked
they
in.
have. Our people are suffering, and our people are suffering. Our people are suffering. We don't need to hear about no Hunter Biden. That drug addict can get the proper care. His daddy is rich. His daddy cried for him and begged. If you would do that, if you guys would do that for your kids, the ones that's on drugs and the ones that's out there doing wrong, if you treated your children the way that man cried on the phone for his son, do you know where we would be at?
Well, are you blaming Biden? Or are you blaming?
I'm not blaming nothing. I said I don't want to hear about no Hunter Biden. I don't want to hear about no Hunter Biden.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm saying it's an example of somebody who's cleaned up. Somebody who's clean. What I'm referring to was people who clean up. That's all I meant. I'm not praising him. I'm just saying
I'm
that
not talking about no cleaning. He can clean up. He got the best of care.
Yeah, okay.
He can clean up anytime he wants to.
Okay.
He get on drugs.
A lot of us can. A lot of us can.
Man's son get on drugs, but you know what? Y'all go take care of the people that's out there starving and don't have lights. Go get your governor to get the people in Illinois to go out there and help them people, please.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Brenda. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I wasn't here to praise Hunter Biden. He's lived, and first thing he said is, I've lived a very privileged life. And a lot of people, I grew up with some very privileged people and who went to great schools and great educations. And a lot of them just turned out to be duds, just nothing. And, it's just when I was at Gary's house yesterday and he was talking about, I didn't go to fancy school. I went to Chicago State. I went here, I went there, went to junior college. And I went to junior college also. I guess LaDonna Tittle and I went to junior college, City College. George Daniels and I did. And I went to Northern Illinois and Southern Illinois. My brother went to Yale, but medical school. But, you can go to an average school, maybe not an Ivy League school, and maybe not lab school and Francis Parker and all that, if you apply yourself. And then, the thing is, I used to be a criminal defense attorney, and I've seen guys get hooked on drugs and trying to make money and just become addicts and so forth. And I've seen people very close to me. And so when you clean up your act, something, it's still good. It's still good whether you were privileged and you clean yourself up or whether you grew up in the gutter and all your relatives were druggies. So I salute people that are able to clean themselves up and make themselves into productive citizens. And I don't want to condemn anybody who does that. I think we should salute everyone. It's much more difficult for others. I remember they used to have this show called something about they put them in, and I've had friends who've gone into therapy and they've gone into these nice. I have a friend who lives out in California, and he went. His people put him in an exclusive club that movie stars and all that go to, but he cleaned up his act like 20 years ago, and he was strung out. And whether you go to one of those really nice places or you go to the little facility, in the hood, if you can clean up your act, I salute you. So that's how I feel about that. Cliff, you're Cliff.
Thanks for taking my call. Good. I understand what Sister Brenda is saying, so much respect to her. And also with that lottery ticket, that was funny. And then you made some good points too about they erase and ignore everything we do. But listen, I want to revisit what I brought up last week in terms of voting. And you put so much emphasis on voting, and we should.
Yeah.
And so my challenge to you was if Donald Trump switched parties, became
I got that. I would vote for the lesser of the two evils. That's what I would do.
Okay, no, wrong answer. Wrong answer.
And tell me what the right answer is.
And I'm glad, Brother Andre, you brought that up with Brother Andre in terms of reparations.
Right.
We cannot wait for Black Republicans or the Republican Party to talk about reparations because they won't. Even with Byron Donalds in his primary win, he ain't going to talk about reparations.
Okay.
And then we need blacks. So Pritzker's not going to talk about reparations because the Democratic Party has brought that up yet.
Did Obama talk about reparations?
No, he didn't.
Okay.
Exactly. So the Democratic Party has not brought up, and black leadership has not brought up. So the power and the solution is in grassroots black people. So what you do in this case, you exercise your right to vote, right? But you do a write-in. We have 50 million blacks, now 14% of the population. So you take a stand collectively, which is not true, which is not going to happen. But just hypothetically speaking, if 50 million blacks were to go to the polls and write in reparations, would that send a message?
Not 50 million blacks in the country, not 50 million that can vote, or 50 million registered.
Well, I'm just using that number there. Yeah. For 14% of the population, okay? Just stick with me for a minute. If we were to do that, would that send a message to the Republican and the Democratic Party?
You don't have time for a message. Thanks, Cliff. You have an election coming up. You don't have time to send a message. And write-in candidates, you name one write-in candidate that has ever won any race anywhere. Write-in candidates do not win elections. They just don't. You can't name anybody that ever won an election of any substance as a write-in candidate. Maybe at your board meeting, in your condo association or homeowners association, maybe that, but you don't win elective office with write-in candidates. And you want to make a statement, you have to be smart about this. You have to understand that we are in a binary system. It's either Democrat or Republican. And we want to encompass the Democratic Socialists of America and try to bring them in. Fine. But third-party candidates don't win elections. And you can't say, well, we made a point and Trump is elected or J.D. Vance is elected, but boy, we made a point. People don't even vote as it is the way they should. And a write-in candidacy is destined to fail. You got to be smart. You'll never get power with a write-in candidate. And if you have one in 2028, well, we got 10,000, we got 10 million blacks who voted for a write-in candidate. And guess what? J.D. Vance won. Or Trump Jr. won. Well, we made a point. You got to do more than just make a point. You got to go to win. To win. That's what's important. Randy, you're on the Borges Report.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Borges, I appreciate your patience. You have the patience of Job. Okay. Really, I don't know how you do it. I'm talking about. It's like some people wake up and they eat some, from some funny crackers or something like that. Well, silly crackers or something like that. I appreciate Mrs. Eunice as always. Much respect to her. She's a good person. I agree. People should join on, get involved with Operation Push. They've done so much over in past 50-some years since they've been operating, as well as also the UNIA and the CPAC, Civilian Police, as well as all the different groups that are trying to empower our community. As a matter of fact, I'm going to check and see if my membership is up to date with Operation Push. And also, I got to make sure I give some more money and resources to the UNIA. But I just want to say and respond, no disrespect to the sister and others about Gary. There are brothers and sisters from Chicago that went over to Gary. And as a matter of fact, there are people who've been taking food and supplies and et cetera over there. I saw that on YouTube they have postings of it, and they need assistance. The problem is the failure of the federal government to provide the resources and stuff like that, because they call themselves punishing Gary, Indiana, because whether they did not support Donald Trump. I call him Trump the chump. And so we have to be quite clear. And also, Cliff, I agree with Brother Cliff sometimes with many instances, but I think he got a little carried away. You have a right to your opinion, your views, Attorney Ernesto, as well as others and stuff. And then you cannot just impose your views if you don't. And I was a part of NCOBRA and the reparation groups of different organizations over the years. And he's incorrect. And our people have received reparations right here in Evanston, Illinois. Sister Robin Rousseau, as well as other groups, whoever, have been quite effective in helping to pass reparation legislation, as well as other groups throughout the nation. Even a group in California. They have a group in Maryland that also are pressuring the government to not only just look at reparation study, but also make sure that our people are compensated and receive some kind of support as relates to reparations. So he's incorrect. You got to do a little deeper research, Brother Cliff. And plus, you're an attorney. You are on top of stuff. I appreciate much what you're doing. I'm looking for your books, for your the books about your life, memoirs. I'm serious. I'm serious. Yeah. You write that you got a friend of Third World Press. I'm looking for your book. I will help you with the research, but I won't keep you. But give much respect to the brothers and sisters in Gary. Take care of yourself. Keep up good work.
Thank you.
Take care now.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if, the sister talked about having Pritzker to take Illinois money to pay to help out people in Indiana. You got people in Illinois that may not like that, taking Illinois money to give to another state. That should be a federal function, and a state of Indiana and the federal government. But I don't think it's fair to jump on Pritzker to say, why aren't you using Illinois money to help out people? And, I'm all about helping people, but I don't know that you can do that. I don't know that you can take, it may be illegal to take Illinois state money and give it to another state. I understand you can, send fire department, this, that, to help out. And they do that all the time. But I don't know to what degree you can do, but put this on Trump. Put it on Trump. This is where it needs to lie. You're getting rid of FEMA or cutting FEMA's budget and all of that. That's where we have a problem. Punishing California when they had tragedies out there, not helping them out. Even though California contributes most of the money to the federal government from the federal taxes imposed upon the residents of California. In New York and California that are Democratic states that he ignores. He even ignores the Republican states. He ignores everybody but himself. David, you're on the Borges Report.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah.
I hear that the United States of America, we have a debt of $40 trillion or something like that.
40 trillion.
Do you know who are our debtors that we owe that money to? Do you have any idea?
You mean creditors?
Yeah,
we're the debtor. China is a big one. I would say China's probably the main one. Yeah. I mean, they could try to cash in and then we'd go bankrupt. So, just like some of these banks and the run on the banks they had in the Depression, 1929, and other depressions in the 1890s, they had another one. But it gets, the economics of it gets a bit complicated. And what does it really mean? Some people say it doesn't mean a damn thing. But Trump is running it up while he puts money in his pocket. But okay, thanks, David. Brother Chris, you're on the Borges Report.
Good morning, Brother Borges. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Shout out to the WVON family. And instead of naming a carry after Trump, we should give him a medal for hiding in that catering truck when
the young lady, Natalie Harp.
Yeah. And I hope our soldiers remember the mission and don't adhere to illegal orders in the way they were suffering in Iran. Mental illness, lack of food, the lack of lighting.
On the Abraham Lincoln, amongst
toilet flushing. And I thought they destroyed their military in June of the other year, and they're able to rebuild so quickly. And Iran, the strait is not open, and they're actually kicking our ass, and we're running out of ammunition, Brother Borges. Thank you for taking my call.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we're running out of ammunition, especially, when you're spending millions of dollars on some anti-missile system, and or anti-drone, and they've got a $30,000 drone, and you're spending $5 million on something to take it down, and giving Israel, for their super dome, how many missiles are they using, Patriot missiles and the like, to shoot down a $30,000 drone? or maybe even $10,000 drone. Who's going to win that war? So, he's depleting our stockpile. Nobody talks about that. His focus is the big, beautiful ballroom. The big, beautiful ballroom while people are starving in Indiana. People down in Puerto Rico are catching hell. He's hurting the people in Cuba. All of these disasters that are occurring, they need help from the federal government. State government doesn't have that kind of, the state government has, Tommy, I see you dropped off. I don't know. I was getting ready to take your call. And anybody else who wants to call in, please do. We freed up some of the lines. But the state government, the states have budgets that they have to live within. They got to live within their means, The federal government can print up money anytime they want. They can just print money at will and help people out and help, people who suffered tragedies and so forth. The state only has so much. They have a finite number of dollars, period. So you can't just spend that without considering the ramifications of using our money. So don't, let's get on who the real problem is. The federal government. And guess who the federal government is? Tommy, you're on. Borges. You're on the Borges Report, Tommy. Yeah.
First of all, good morning, Mr. Borges, and especially to all those that have called. Unfortunately, see, when you respond to individual events and forget the collective overview out of all of it, see, all of this stuff, Mr. Borges, everything down from them giving Stephen A. Smith an award, knowing what his response would be. These conversations that we're having where individuals are constantly telling individuals that, hey, wait a minute. Like Andre said so eloquently, I don't think I've heard anybody explain it any clearer than the way the man explained it. I'm talking about the whole 100, not all of it. Yeah. I mean, there are certain things that come from the callers of WBON, like Brother Fatah calling in, and you could feel this man's pain that will cause individuals of principle to stop and say, hey, wait a minute. This is something that we all ought to be taking a serious look at. And so as I close, we should not be in a situation right now where you got to beg and plead and do everything to even get an individual to understand you don't even know about Joy Miller. He was the personal, I'm going to say this for the last time, people. He was not a damn cook. He was the personal attaché to the captain of that destroyer. And keep in mind, people, to this day, no black man commands nothing in the United States Navy. And the last one that's best of all is that they trained the black airmen right out there at the naval base and stuff. Their damn planes is all out there in Lake Michigan, and not one of them flew nothing. Trying that. Goodbye.
All right. Goodbye, Tommy. Okay, I got a number of comments from some of the Facebook people. Indiana can take care of Indiana. The governor definitely took the immigrants from Texas, and if he could have helped those people, he can help the black people in Indiana. Trump and Elon Musk decimated FEMA, and somebody said, "Pam, where are you, Pam?" Thanks, Tommy. Yeah, people are calling in, but you can't just take Illinois money and use it on another state. I mean, you got people who are opposed to that. And it's not the responsibility. If you want to do it on your own, that's fine. But I don't know that it's legal to do that. Kevin, you're on the Borges Report.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I want to commend you on building a bigger business, going into a different part of law. And
thank you. Mm-hmm.
Yes, you're very welcome. And then your statement about the two-party system, you explained it. I couldn't imagine anybody explaining it any clearer than you do. Two-party system. Nobody has ever won anything on a third party anything, just like you said.
Right.
You explained it beautifully.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've appreciate it. Okay, thank you, Kevin. Unless you have something else to say. Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't work. I mean, you can be a spoiler. Look at what Ralph Nader did to Al Gore. Ralph Nader ran for the presidency, and in Florida, he took enough votes away from Al Gore that allowed Bush to get elected. What did he achieve by doing that? Making a point, and then we got Bush in. He wasn't the worst guy in the world, not compared to Trump. I don't believe 9/11 would have happened if Al Gore had been the president. I really don't. You know, and when we got hit 9/11, Bush didn't know what the hell to do. But what happened? Ralph Nader. You know, this woman, the Green Party, took votes away from Hillary. And what happened? We got Trump. Third parties just don't work in this country. It's not set up for that. And write-in candidates, that's not even third party. A write-in candidate is even different. You're going to get even fewer votes than, say, the Green Party would get. You know, I mean, they don't get significant votes. A write-in candidate, and some people write in a Mickey Mouse. I've seen that. I've worked for the election board. Some people will write in Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. Linda, you're on the Borges Report.
Yes, I just love listening to this program every week.
Oh, thank you.
Good job, yes.
Thank you, Linda.
And yes, you're welcome. And with Charlie Kirk, what Trump did with him and honoring him and being on his wife's podcast is about taking on his constituency, because it takes the young people to really have a revolution. And he's taken all of those young people on. He's also building more facilities for immigrants. Well, if you're getting them out of the country, why do you need to build more facilities? And I assert that down the road, he plans on putting us in there.
Absolutely.
Just like he's taking that honor of naming of the ship from the brother. I'm telling you, we better wake up and smell the coffee. He's got a plan in place for us.
Absolutely.
That's my comment.
Thank you, Linda. You know, Linda sees what's happening. I see what's happening. November is going to be a disaster. We're 72 days away from that election, 72 days. And when you see what happens, you'll say, well, you know, some people, well, Borges, all you do is just talk about, well, I'm trying to save our democracy. Yeah, you can talk about reparations, but you're not going to get that if you have no democracy. Even if if you don't get the Democrats at least control the House, and maybe one day we'll get the presidency back, and we can talk about reparations, and we can do some meaningful things to move in that direction. But you can't shoot yourself in the foot now and allow these Republicans. They don't care. They don't care about us at all. You know, I looked at some of the historical things. I looked at Thomas Jefferson on one of the historical channels, history channels. And, you know, he had, you know, Sally Hemings, and he was, you know, he had this thing going on with Sally, sister. And Sally's mother was the concubine, if you will, of Thomas Jefferson's wife's father. Thomas Jefferson's wife was the half sister of Sally Hemings, the aunt of Sally Hemings. No, the half sister. They don't care about us. And the more it'll hit you one day, and hopefully it just won't be fatal. But you have to understand, and people talk about the Democrats. We only have two choices here, folks. You're either with us or you're against us. What was your Willie? I think there was some, I don't know, Real McCoys or something. He said, you with me or you against me? Anyway, go ahead. Lawrence, you're on the Borges Report. Lawrence.
Hello.
Yes. Hey, Lawrence.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good. Tell me about the bag.
Hey, man, here's what I don't get, man.
Right.
How can you even mention the Democrats now? And they're not even in office, and we black people steadily calling up somebody we ain't never did. Democrats ain't never did nothing for them. I just don't get it, man. Yeah. What are these people doing for you? They showing what they're doing for you.
No.
Erasing your history.
No.
Trying to take your civil rights away from you.
Yeah.
And you still can't see it. What's the problem, brother?
And people just don't, I don't know. They're just blinded. You know, and I'm glad you brought up something, because who initiated Social Security, which people depend upon? A Democrat, FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I mean, I think, and now Trump wants to change the name from Social Security to government assistance or something like that.
Yeah.
And, he wants to take the name social out of it because he wants to attack these Democratic Socialist Party. But that's a degree of socialism. Medicaid, a degree of socialism. Medicare, a degree of socialism. And so it's not the end of the world. And that's why he wants to remove that name from the Social Security checks and call it government assistance or something like that.
But here's the bad thing about it, brother. Just for us, some of us black people going against that. That's why I don't understand. I understand these white, but you got black people calling every day talking about Democrats and never did nothing for them.
Right.
And talking about marching. If it wasn't for marching, we wouldn't have no Walker Obama. We wouldn't have Jesse Jackson.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have none of that. But how can you even fix your mouth, man, and even say Democrats ain't never did nothing for you, man? Now you think about that.
It's nuts. And Lyndon B. Johnson, Mike, you're coming up. LBJ. I mean, he passed the Voting Rights Act, which they've got it now. You know, in fact, the Civil Rights Act. He was a Democrat. He gave up the South. He said, I've lost the South forever, because he pressured them to pass those two bills. Mike, you're on quickly. Mike.
Yeah. Good morning, Brother Borges. How you doing?
Good. How are you? Good.
Yeah. You know, I just tuned in and I just heard you responding to someone talking about a third party.
Yeah.
Black folks. Hey, why don't we start taking advantage? When we take full advantage of what we got now,
thank you.
Politically, then if that doesn't work out, then we can talk about a third party.
Right.
But until we get these knuckleheads talking about they're not going to vote, they're not, what has it done for us? Until we get these folks active or out of here, I don't want to hear any nonsense about a third party.
Well, thanks, Mike. Yeah, you know, you've got to be smart about this. It might be a feel-good moment for you to say, oh, I stayed home. Maybe you feel good about that. I don't know why you would. Or I voted for a third party. I feel good about that. And then guess who's still in power? These people who do not want us on the face of the earth. They certainly don't want us in this country. They let millions, hundreds of thousands of black people die over in Africa. What does that say to you? Doesn't that tell you something? When they got food right there on the port that has already been delivered and you won't distribute it, you'd rather see them die? Doesn't that tell you something? He wants to erase our history. He doesn't want to give us a great war hero. No black that had ever won the Navy Cross when Dory Miller won that. No one. No Congressional Medals of Honor during World War from 1941 to 45 given. One posthumously later. And we're some brave people. We can fight. We fought in the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, the Korean War. Anyway, get me started. Okay, Robert, thanks, buddy. Anyway, folks, on this August the 23rd, 2026, that's the way of the world. Another edition of the Borges Report. See you next week. Love you.
If we just let it Ready to enhance your financial knowledge? WVON and JP Morgan Chase have come together to provide the information you need to become your most prosperous. Matt McGill, the host of WVON's Matt McGill Show,